Good morning, guys. It is Wednesday morning, and today we are doing lesson 6 in math today. Go ahead and open up your My Math books to page 663. That is where we're going to get started. We're going to do the first two example problems together. I'm going to have you guys do the independent practice. And like I said on the earlier video, if you have a chance, have mom, dad, brother, or sister go ahead and check your independent practice after you get finished before you start that homework, just to make sure that you're doing everything correctly. Okay, let's jump into example 1 right away. It says, Denny walked 3/10 mile to the post office. Then he walked 5/100ths mile to the grocery store. How far did he walk in all? Write the answer as a fraction with a denominator of 100 and as a decimal. Okay, so right away, as you guys can see, I modeled example 1 for us, okay? We've got the distance that he walked to the post office. We got the distance that he walked to the grocery store, all right? And what we have to do is we have to add those two fractions together and find what the total was that Denny walked. Okay, so we've got 3/10 plus 5/100ths. Now, if you guys remember, a couple chapters ago, we added fractions, okay? But we have a big problem right here. These are not like fractions. Remember, like fractions have the same denominator. So what we're going to have to do in this lesson is we are going to have to change our tenths into hundredths. Now, just in the last lesson, we learned how to do that, okay? All we have to do is add a 0 to our denominator and a 0 to our numerator, and we just turned 3/10 into 30/100ths, okay? So now we have like fractions. We've got hundredths and hundredths. We can add, okay? So when we add hundredths and hundredths, our denominator stays the same. And now we can just add our numerators. 30 plus 5. We end up with 35/100ths, okay? 35/100ths. That is our total. Now, the question told us to put it as a fraction with a denominator of 100, but also they want us to turn it into a decimal as well. So 35/100ths, if we write that in decimal form, it would be 0.35. Okay, I'm going to write that a little more clearly. Sorry about that. All right, so 0.35. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that okay. All right, so that is example 1. We added tenths to hundredths by changing our tenths to hundredths, getting like fractions, and then adding straight across, okay? All right, now, if you wanted to, you could also change these into decimals as well. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this to our original problem. All right, remember we had 3/10 here. What if we wrote this as decimals? Okay, 3/10 would be written as 0.3, and 5/100ths would be written as 0.05. Notice that that 5 is in the hundredths place, okay? So if we add 0.3 plus 0.05, we'd end up with 0.35 or 35/100ths. Okay, go ahead and turn the page, guys. We are on page 664, all right? And we are going to do example 2 together. All right, it says, find 4/10 plus 22/100ths. Write the sum as a fraction with a denominator of 100 and as a decimal. Okay, so I've got our addition sentence written out right here. We've got 4/10, we've got 22/100ths, okay? Now, like before, we have to make our denominators the same. The way that we do that is we're going to turn our tenths into hundredths. Again, we add a 0 to the denominator, add a 0 to the numerator, because we know that 4/10 is also the same thing as 40/100ths. Now we can simply add straight across. So 40 plus 22, we would end up with 62/100ths. And on the example problems on both page 663 and 664, you guys can see they actually have the grids already shaded in for you. Okay, so you can kind of see visually how those decimals and fractions are being added. Okay, so now we have 62 100ths. How do we write that as a decimal? Real simple, it's 0.62. Okay, all right. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you guys is we could also have turned these into decimals as well. How? Well, originally we had 4/10, okay? And 4/10 would be written as 0.4. Over here, 22 100ths would have been written as 0.22. Again, we could add those together and we'd still get 0.62. Okay? Alrighty, guys. So all you guys need to do now is page 665 in your independent practice. If you can have somebody check that for you, that'd be awesome. Don't forget, make sure you do the homework. That is on page 667 and 668, okay? So if you guys have any questions, make sure you comment below or message me on Google Classroom, all right? Make sure you guys are still reading those AR books, getting those AR points. I will check in with you tomorrow. See you guys. Bye.